my name is Noortje. I'm born in the south of the Netherlands 25 years ago, almost 26 years ago. I now live in The Hague, and I live together with my boyfriend in the heart of the city center. I really enjoy doing sports, like any type of sport, cycling, running, skiing. And I have a very big passion for sustainability, and you can see that in my everyday life, but also in my work. So yeah, I'm happy to share more about that. Well, I joined 5 years ago, and when I joined, actually, I joined a different organization, an organization that later became a known group. I joined the Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship as a project manager. So I organize a lot of events in the startup ecosystem, and I also brought together startups with more senior entrepreneurs and also corporates. And then I joined the Get in the Ring team. With Get in the Ring, we organize a global competition to give startups a platform to pitch their solution. And I did a lot of different things. The team was very small back then. We were basically a startup ourselves. So we did a lot of the different elements in the business. But later we grew, and also I specialized more in the investment activities of the company. And now I'm an investment manager. So I do a lot of the investment activities of the known group. We are a venture capital fund investing in early stage companies, so from pre-seed, seed, pre-series A stages. And next to the investments, of course, I support the portfolio companies in their growth with their strategy, with how they're going to expand their team and their activities, their international strategy, sales, and combine it basically with the activities that we have as a group. Yeah, so not exactly the moment, but I know Hendrik and partners were already involved as business angels in a few startups. So they invested from their own companies in startups and supported them. I think a company like Chef in the Box, giving a solution like HelloFresh now was one of the first investments. But after the merger with Ventures One, that's when it actually became an institutional part of our business. It's also when we adopted basically the existing portfolio of Ventures One under the Unknown Group arm, and started doing more VC type of investments. Yeah, so currently we are 6 people. We have 3 more senior people, a chief investment officer, Hans, who is basically in charge of the whole portfolio and the team. We have myself as an investment manager, and under that there are a few analysts who do a lot of work in researching both industries and markets, as well as research on specific cases, investment cases. And of course, Hendrik and Edward are also involved as chairman and CEO in the investment decisions. And we do that through an investment committee meeting where we make basically formal decisions on investments. So we have currently, I think, an active portfolio of 38 companies, but there has been a few more investments that we already exited, for instance, or that don't exist anymore, the companies, because there is a high failure rate with startups, especially in an early stage. And this portfolio consists basically of a lot of different type of companies. We have companies in the food domain, we have companies in the energy domain, but also a few more traditional industries like insurance and fintech, but all innovative technologies and technology-based companies. Yeah, so we like to invest basically in teams. So that makes it not really an answer to your question, but that also means that we could invest in a lot of different domains and sectors, as long as there is an ambitious, committed team with a good business model, and a go-to-market vision. But of course, there are some domains where we have less expertise and could also add less value to the teams. Pharmaceuticals, for instance, is something we are not super familiar with. We don't have a large network, so I don't think we will invest in a pharmaceutical company or like medtech company quite fast. But it could be that we do that. We really focus on those domains where we have also the network and the expertise to support them, because cash is one thing, but if as an investor you cannot add anything else, I think you can still not accelerate the growth of a startup. Yeah, so currently we have investments mostly based in Europe / the Netherlands, but we have a few investments in Southeast Asia as well as in Israel. So we are not limited to a specific region or domain, but from a few of our vehicles or funds that we invest with, we have some limitations. But we also do investments from own resources, and there we have no actual limitations. Well, what I've seen in the past, that the startups that ask us for funding often are not the most high quality ones. The ones that you find before they start looking for funding are often the ones that you need to have in your portfolio, because those are the ones that get approached already, get seen, and then investors jump on it. That's also with why a known group is so special. We have not only the VC activities, but also the corporate services, where we scout a lot of companies for our government and corporate clients. But that also leads to super good knowledge in the domains that we support these corporates with, on which startups are active and growing and doing well. So the goal is eventually, I think, to have a good scouting engine also for our investment vehicles, and basically spot the top companies before they start raising funding. But currently there are also a lot of companies that find us. So I think with our deal flow team, we evaluate in every 2 weeks around 50 companies that apply for funding with us. So we start from a Pré-Seed rounds. If you talk European rounds, so a tickets from 50K onwards to 2 or 3 million. So often that ends at a Series A or a Pre-Series A, and everything that's in between. But our sweet spot actually lies more in the seed round, I would say, because we are looking at companies that have developed their product or service, actual traction in the market, and are now really looking to scale up. And we are, I think, the investor that supports them best in that step of growing a business. So I think on average, initial ticket around 250K euros. Like I said, we have different investment vehicles, and for those investment vehicles, also different criteria are relevant. We, for instance, have one fund where we really focus on early stage Dutch startups that have a technology component. And for those companies, it is important that they haven't raised a funding round before from an institutional investor. So we are then going to be basically the first ones to invest. But where we typically pay a lot of attention towards is the team, is the team not one person, but at least two with complementary skills and experience? Is the product ready to scale up, basically? So a commercial ready product, if it's an ID stage or a prototype with a lot of technical development still, it's also too early for us. We want to see some market validation, and that could be that you did a pilot, not even paid, but that there is a customer interested in you, or if you have more of a B2C solution to show some users or traffic, or other terms of traction in terms of awards or recognition in the media. We have a slight focus on B2B solutions, as our network is bigger there, and we are, I think, better to support those companies. But we also have a few B2C business models in our portfolio. And the funds, the funds size, or basically the fundraising size needs to match our tickets. So if a company is raising 5 million, often that's too big for us. Yeah, currently we have invested with own money in combination with some governmental funds. So we have one fund with European Investment Fund. That fund is actually at this moment full for new investments. We're only doing new or follow-on investments in existing portfolio companies. We have another vehicle together with RVO, which is the, how do you say it in English? Economic Development Agency of the Netherlands. And they, that fund, we focus specifically on the Pré-Seed phase Dutch companies. But the investments with our own fund, with own resources, have a broader focus. However, in the future, we are planning to raise funds or co-develop funds with corporate partners or private investors in specific domains, of which food and alternative proteins is an example that we are now exploring, as well as energy. But we want to do it in a little bit of a different way. So not a traditional VC fund, but really bringing the market also already on board in this investment phase, so that we can accelerate the access to market for the companies that we invest in. No, yeah, we this last summer we exited a company, Just Premium. It's a company where we have been investor of the first day. We say so. We basically joined the company when in the first year after it has been founded, and in a few years they actually grew internationally to almost every continent, and they now are acquired by GumGum, which is a US-based advertisement business. And the company Just Premium, they had also an advertisement technology to show contextual ads to people. How it basically works is, if you are on a website, that the whole screen is advertisement. So a lot of people maybe know the WeTransfer page. That's something Just Premium created, and that was very interesting to GumGum, which is a very big company, and so that was an example of a very successful exit for us. Yeah, so it's really smart capital, and of course we are sometimes limited in terms of resources and time, but there are a few elements where we support the companies the most with. And I think the first one is strategy. So with every company we have strategic discussions on how to grow the business, in which steps, and how we could support in that. We support them in financial activities, so next fundraising rounds, as well as raising funds from banks, for instance, and all the steps they have to, and the loops they have to go in that regard. We support them in with network and commercial introductions to the corporates and other organizations in our network. And we support them with growing their team. We know a lot of people that have been an entrepreneur before or failed and now start over or exited their company. And sometimes we know, okay, this guy could actually be amazing in the position of one of our portfolio companies. So that's also something we support them with. It depends. So in a very early stage, we don't think a formal board already has to be created. So we will just be part of an advisory type of board. And in a few of the companies that we invest in that are progressing to a later stage, and where we also have a big enough stake to ask for a board seat, we have a board seat. Yeah. Yeah, so that's something that we are exploring. I think we will not be doing like only the operating model of a CVC, so doing the management and etc., but that we would really do that as a strategic partner. So also providing, for instance, scouting and exploration of the market, the corporate giving the test environment or validation in the market, and really setting up this unique fund where we are not just an extension of the corporate, but setting up a new partnership where both parties bring in value. And in the end, we are there for the founders, because we believe founders have solutions for the important challenges that we have in the world. And of course, you need access to the market to make an impact. So we connect those corporates, but in the end, we are there for the founders. So that's in also that activity. We want to include that. So in my opinion, and I think I hope I communicate the vision in the right way, we will be a market leader in like investment activities in early stage startups in different domains, and also more specified transitions that we go through as the world. So we will not say we will be expert in the food domain, but we will focus on making sure that the world population has nutritional protein, and we do that by connecting entrepreneurs with innovations to the market and corporates that can provide the access to market. So we want to do, I think, that activity in maybe 10 transitions in a few years, and build a 100 million portfolio in each of those domains. But in the end, I think it's about impact. So we are now also defining more impact metrics, and what we are thinking about is to include the revenue of the companies that we invest in as an important impact metric, because only if they sell something, that's when the impact also has been created, because it has been brought to the market. So you can talk about valuation of a portfolio, but we like to think actually in revenue that the portfolio company has made, to really pinpoint the impact they make.